Today's overlooked stock used to be a pretty popular one. George Tsilis joining me, our senior markets correspondent, looking at Funko. Good old fun Funko, George. Fun's in the name, of course. It's got to be true. I've got some of these dolls. They're pretty cool. I got a Steve Irwin one. I've got a John Wick doll that's from the former Funko CEO, Brian Mariotti. So I'm a fan, but the stock has been terrible. How come it's now warming back up?
Well, I think there's maybe a turnaround story associated with the stock, OJ, and you're right. I mean, if you look at the last 5 years, I mean, the stock was trading in a really wide trading range between, let's say, 27 on the high side and about $3 on the low side. So it seems to be coming out of the low bar of that 5-year trading range. And this is, I think it's an interesting company because they're very unique collectibles and novelty items. They have essential partnerships and collaborations with, movie franchises, games, and now, the catalyst is they're moving more so and aggressively into sports franchises like the NFL, and even college franchises to have these Funko replica dolls. And they're also moving it pretty aggressively into other areas like music and gaming. And I think, it's a really novelty item. It's actually a very specialty item, and it's very unique. And I think that is one of the primary catalysts the company has going for. Now, if you look at the call today, there was an analyst upgrade. B. Riley did move their target on the stock to $15 from $13, which is actually about a 45% or so increase based upon the opening price today. And they're actually seeing the catalyst, like I said just a moment ago, which is moving more aggressively into sports franchises and movie franchises, where the likeness of athletes and even actors and of course, movie characters really is very large in terms of the churn rate. In other words, you're getting more of those more elaborate, if you will, animation dolls and so forth going forward. And I think, again, if you look at the earnings estimates for the underlying business in the trailing 4 quarters, they didn't earn anything. They didn't lose anything or earn anything on an adjusted basis, but they're expected to earn, at least in 2025, which they're already in this fiscal year, about 37 cents, and actually going into 2026, it looks like the earnings estimates are over $1.07. So it seems to be that they have had some operational issues to maintain consistent profitability because gross margins over the last 5 years have been very steady around 36% of sales, but operating metrics have actually been negative, and as a consequence, they've actually issued the share count in the last 5 years from about 30 million shares to 50 million shares, and I think that's put underlying pressure on the share price. Okay, so some of that kind of relief coming as they seem to have hit a windfall. They sold like tons of Deadpool dolls, basically. Like, I think it kind of seems like that was a massive windfall, that huge success of that movie. Well, yeah, I think their products are actually very, very unique. Like I said, very popular, and they're very successful. What I just see, and this is just my view of it, I'm not an expert in the toy business or novelty or collectibles business. They seem to me, just looking at their income statements over 5-year trends, they need some manufacturing partnerships, and that may come about from bigger partnerships with companies like Hasbro and Mattel. They have franchises in which they actually license their products through. They generate royalty and licensing revenues, and that includes, like I said, the NFL and Marvel franchises and so forth. There's just too many to name them all. But nonetheless, it appears to me that there's a lot of value that can be unlocked under this franchise from either partnerships or maybe even some strategic acquisition of Funko from a larger player like Mattel or Hasbro. So I think this is one to watch. I wouldn't get in front of this thing just because it's already near its 5-year lows. And those estimates for 2026 are quite high, $1.07, putting the forward multiple less than 10 times. So this is one to watch for sure. All right. Cool. Good refresher there. A comeback story. I don't mind it. Like I said, I think their product's pretty cool. But seems like it was a tough financial situation for a long stretch there. And maybe they've cleaned that up and turned it around. Thanks, George. New CEO, by the way.